After we turn 60, something begins to change, not just in how the world sees us, but in how we see ourselves. We start to slow down, not just in body, but in spirit too. And while aging brings with it a great deal of wisdom, it can also bring along habits, silent, subtle, and often unkind. Habits we don't talk about. Habits that make us look and feel older than we truly are. But here's something I want to tell you. Heart to heart, aging gracefully doesn't mean pretending you're young. It means learning how to age with strength, with clarity, and with care. And sometimes, that means letting go of habits that no longer serve us. Because while we may have earned every gray hair and every wrinkle, we haven't lost the power to change. Before we go further, let me ask you, are you someone who still believes in growing? If you are, I invite you to stay with me for the next few minutes. You might just discover that it's never too late to feel better, look better, and live with more confidence than ever before. Now, if you're watching this and you think to yourself, oh, this might be helpful for someone I love, or even this is something I need to hear, then go ahead and click that subscribe button below. It's a small act that helps us continue creating thoughtful, senior-friendly content just like this. And who knows, one of these videos might just be the gentle nudge someone needs. Let's talk truth now. Many of us, without realizing it, pick up certain habits as we age, habits that we believe are harmless or even normal. Maybe we started doing them because of convenience, or maybe because we thought they were part of growing older. But over time, they quietly take a toll. They wear down our confidence. They dim our spark. And yes, they make us look older than we are, inside and out. Today, I want to share with you 6 of these habits. Not to shame you, not to scare you, but to open your eyes and your heart to the possibility of doing things differently. Because what's too late for one person may just be perfect timing for another. And I'll say this, dear friend, if you're still waking up in the morning, still able to listen, to reflect, and to choose, you are not too late. This isn't a list of vanity fixes. It's a guide from one senior to another, meant to uplift you, to help you feel just a little more vibrant. And along the way, we'll talk about how to gently break free from these habits and replace them with choices that help you glow in the way only someone seasoned with life can. Before we begin, I want to remind you again, don't forget to like this video if you find even one piece of it meaningful. And leave me a comment below. What's one thing you've let go of in your 60s that made you feel lighter, freer, or younger? Alright, shall we begin? Let's take a look at the first habit, one that often creeps in without us even noticing. Let's begin with the first habit, neglecting your posture. Now, I know that doesn't sound dramatic. Posture? Really? But let me tell you, nothing ages a person faster, in appearance or in spirit, than a hunched back, slumped shoulders, and a downward gaze. You see, poor posture often starts small. Maybe your back hurts from time to time. Maybe you spend more time sitting than standing. Maybe you've grown used to the comfort of your recliner, or you've just accepted that your spine doesn't feel like it once did. But here's the truth. When we allow our posture to collapse, we send a silent message to the world and to ourselves. We say, I'm tired. We say, I'm shrinking. We say, without words, I've given up a little. But what if we reverse that? What if, starting today, you sat up just a little straighter, pulled your shoulders back, lifted your chest, raised your chin, not in defiance, but in quiet pride? Good posture isn't about vanity, it's about vitality. It affects how you breathe, how your heart beats, how you digest your food. It sharpens your balance, improves your circulation, and yes, lifts your spirit. I've seen friends in their 70s and 80s walk into a room with the presence of someone decades younger. Why? Because they carry themselves with dignity. They don't stoop to their age, they rise above it. Now, if you've been slouching for years, I won't lie. It takes time to change. But change is always possible. Try this. Every morning, when you wake up, stand against a wall. Let the back of your head, your shoulders, and your heels touch it. Take a deep breath. Hold that position for just 1 minute. That's all. Do it every day, and before long, your body will remember what it feels like to stand tall. And while you're at it, take a walk. Not just to get exercise, but to move with intention. Swing your arms. Lift your gaze. Let your feet find rhythm. You'll not only look younger, you'll feel stronger. Now, I want to pause here for a moment. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you. It means you care about yourself. You're still listening, still growing, and that matters. If you haven't already, tap that subscribe button below. There's a whole community of us here. People who believe that growing older should be something we do well, not something we merely survive. And tell me in the comments, have you noticed your posture changing? What helps you feel tall, steady, and proud? Because this first habit, neglecting posture, is one we can change today. It doesn't require surgery. It doesn't cost a dime. All it takes is awareness and a quiet decision to carry yourself with the same grace that's carried you through life this far. Up next, we'll talk about something that might surprise you, a daily habit that seems harmless, but could be quietly adding years to your face. Stay with me. Let's talk about the second habit, skipping skincare because it's too late. Skincare. For many of us, especially those who didn't grow up with moisturizers, serums, and fancy night creams, it can feel like a modern indulgence. Or worse, it can feel pointless. I've heard so many friends say, "At my age, what difference will it make?" Or "Wrinkles are natural. Why fight them?" And yes, wrinkles are natural. So are laugh lines, silver hair, and skin that tells the story of decades lived. But here's the thing. Taking care of your skin isn't about chasing youth. It's about respecting the vessel you've been living in for 60, 70, 80 years. It's about care, not correction. When we stop tending to our skin, it dries, it dulls, it sags, and not just from time, but from neglect. And that neglect shows. People often associate dry, flaky, or sagging skin with aging, not because of the wrinkles themselves, but because the skin looks uncared for. But let me share something beautiful with you. Skin is resilient. Even in our later years, it responds to touch, to nourishment, to routine. You're not too late. You're never too late. Start simple. Cleanse gently in the morning and before bed. Use a moisturizer, one with hyaluronic acid or ceramides if you can, to keep your skin hydrated. During the day, use a lightweight sunscreen, even if you're mostly indoors. And once or twice a week, exfoliate softly. Nothing harsh, just enough to clear away the dullness. It's not about looking 30 again. It's about looking like the healthiest, most radiant version of yourself. And trust me, people notice. The glow that comes from cared-for skin is subtle, but unmistakable. It says, "I'm still here. I still value myself." And don't forget, skincare is also self-care. It's a moment in your day when you slow down. When you look in the mirror and say, "I matter." That's powerful. That's healing. Now, if you're thinking, "Well, I've never been the lotion and cream type," I understand. Many of us weren't raised that way. But let me ask you, if your hands were dry and cracked, wouldn't you rub in a little balm? If your lips were chapped, wouldn't you soften them with something? Your face, your neck, your hands. These are all parts of the story you carry. Treat them kindly. And while we're on this, subscribe, dear friend, if you haven't yet. Every time you do, you help this message reach someone who might need a gentle reminder that they're not forgotten, that their wellness still matters. If this part resonates with you, I want you to leave a comment below and say, "I still care." Say it for yourself. Say it for the next person who's afraid it's too late to start. One final tip here. Hydration isn't just what you put on your skin. It's what you put in your body too. So drink water, herbal tea. Even a warm cup of lemon water in the morning does wonders. Your skin notices. Your body notices. You've lived a beautiful life. Don't let your skin whisper that you've stopped showing up for it. Care for it like you care for a well-worn book, gently, lovingly, and with great respect. Next, we'll look at a habit that hides in plain sight. One that quietly drains your energy and dulls your presence without you even realizing. Let's uncover it together, soon. Let's talk now about the third habit, isolating yourself from meaningful social connection. This one is tender, and I'll be honest with you, It's something many of us don't even realize we're doing until the silence becomes louder than the television in the background. As we age, life tends to shrink a little. Children grow up and move away. Friends pass on. Our routines become smaller, simpler, and before we know it, days pass without laughter shared, stories told, or even a kind voice calling our name. It's not always a choice, it just happens. But here's the truth. Isolation doesn't just make us feel older. It makes us older, faster than we imagine. Loneliness isn't just emotional, it's physical. Studies have shown that chronic loneliness can accelerate cognitive decline, weaken the immune system, and even shorten life expectancy. That's how powerful human connection is. And yet, this isn't about filling your calendar with noise. This is about meaningful connection. The kind that lights your eyes when you speak. The kind that brings a smile that lingers long after the conversation ends. The kind that reminds you, you belong. But let's be honest, reaching out isn't always easy, especially when you're the one who's been quiet for a while. You might think, I don't want to be a burden, or people are busy, or even, it's been too long. But hear this from me. It's never too long to reach out. Never too late to reconnect. And you, dear one, are never a burden. Start small. Call one old friend. Write one letter. Join one community activity, even if it's virtual. Attend a group at your local senior center, or offer to volunteer once a week. It doesn't have to be grand. You don't need a party. Sometimes, the best connection is found sitting quietly across from someone who listens. And if mobility or transportation is an issue, consider phone calls, video chats, or even pen pal programs. Yes, those still exist. And they matter. You matter. Let me tell you a short story. A dear friend of mine named Harold, age 83, hadn't left his house in nearly a month when I visited. His eyes were dull, his voice quiet. But after just 2 cups of tea and a little back and forth about our favorite old radio shows, something shifted. His laughter returned. His shoulders loosened. He said, I forgot how good it feels to be seen. And that's what I want for you. To feel seen. To feel heard. To feel part of something again. Now's a good moment to gently remind you. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do. Not just because it supports us, but because it connects us. Each new subscriber becomes part of this small but growing family, a place where age is honored and every voice has value. If this message has touched you, would you leave a comment below that simply says, I'm still reaching out? Let that be a promise to yourself. Let it be a beacon to someone else scrolling by who needs courage. And if you know someone who's been silent lately, send them this video. It might be the thread that leads them out of the quiet. One last thought before we move on. Your story doesn't end with stillness. It deepens with connection. Let your days stretch wider again. Let laughter echo again. Let life in again. Next, we'll discuss a habit that seems harmless, something many of us call just resting. But over time, it chips away at our strength and spirit. It's time we take a closer look. Let's now uncover the 4th habit, leading a life of physical stillness. Now, I want to approach this gently, because I know the body doesn't always cooperate the way it used to. The knees creak, the hips protest, and some mornings it takes longer than we'd like just to stand up straight. And so we say, I'm just taking it easy, or I've earned the right to rest. And yes, you have earned rest. After decades of working, raising families, surviving heartbreaks, and celebrating victories, no one deserves peace more than you do. But rest is not the same as stillness. And when we let stillness take over, when day after day we avoid movement, avoid walking, avoid even stretching, something begins to fade. We lose more than just muscle. We lose confidence. We lose balance. We lose the simple joys that come from feeling capable. You see, the body is like a song. If it's not sung for too long, it forgets its melody. But hum a few bars each day, and it begins to remember. You don't have to run marathons. You don't have to join a gym. But you do need to move, somehow, some way, every single day. Start with 5 minutes. That's it. 5 minutes of walking through your home. 5 minutes of slow stretches in a chair. 5 minutes of gentle arm circles, knee raises, or deep breathing while you stand. Let your body feel itself again. Let your breath guide your rhythm. And here's something you might not expect. Physical movement doesn't just make you look younger. It makes you feel younger. It improves your sleep, brightens your mood, sharpens your memory, and increases your independence. Movement isn't about muscle, it's about momentum. There's a saying I love: we don't stop moving because we grow old. We grow old because we stop moving. That's the truth. And it's not too late to begin again. Not even close. I know someone who began stretching at age 78. She couldn't touch her toes. She couldn't even reach past her knees. But every morning, she stood up and tried. And now, at 82, she moves with a grace that surprises even her. She says it's like waking up a part of herself she thought was long gone. And dear one, if you've been sitting still for far too long, don't scold yourself. Don't dwell on the time lost. Just begin again. Kindly, gently, patiently. If you're still with me, it means you care about your well-being. And I honor that. Let's keep walking this road together. Go ahead and tap that subscribe button if you haven't yet. It's one of the ways we stay connected, and every click helps us bring more warmth, more encouragement, and more wisdom to those who need it. Now tell me in the comments, what's one way you move your body each day? Or what's one way you want to start? Your answer might inspire someone else who's just waiting for a sign to begin. And here's one more thought. If you live alone, find ways to weave movement into your daily life. Dance while you do the dishes. Stand while you read. Walk while you talk on the phone. Let life become your exercise. Let movement become your music. In our next section, we'll talk about a habit that doesn't live in our joints or our muscles, but in our words. A habit that can quietly age our relationships, our joy, and even our sense of self. And we may not even know we're doing it. Let's explore it together. Now we turn to a habit that's less visible than posture, skincare, or physical activity, but just as powerful. The fifth aging habit is this: speaking negatively about yourself, your age, or your worth. You might be thinking, oh, I just joke around. It's not serious. But let's take a closer look. How many times have you said things like, I'm too old for that. My memory's no good anymore. Don't mind me. I'm just a forgetful old lady. Or even, what's the point at my age? We say these things half laughing, often to break the ice or excuse ourselves. But with every repetition, we start to believe them. And so do the people around us. Words are not just sounds. Words are messages. And when you speak poorly about yourself, especially in front of others, you slowly shape your reality to match those words. You limit your own joy. You dim your own light. You hand over your own power. Let me tell you a truth that perhaps no one has said to you lately. Your age is not a flaw. It is not a burden. It is not something to be ashamed of. Your age is a medal, a sign that you've endured, survived, grown, and witnessed what many never had the chance to. So why speak of it with regret, or worse, with apology? We live in a culture that often praises youth and forgets the richness of age. But we don't have to follow that current. We can speak differently. And when we do, we not only feel younger, we teach the next generation how to grow older with dignity. What if, instead of saying, I'm too old for that, you said, that's new to me, but I'm willing to try. Instead of, my memory's gone, you said, let me think for a moment. Instead of, I'm just an old man, you said, asterisk, I'm a man with decades of experience. Do you see the shift? It's small, but it's mighty. Every time you choose different words, you're choosing a different path for yourself. You're telling your body, your brain, and your heart, I am still growing. I still have worth. I still have something to give. And you do. You absolutely do. Now, I'd like to ask you to do something. In the comments, would you share one positive statement you're willing to say about yourself today? Just one. Something true. Something kind. It might be as simple as, I'm still learning, or I am valuable. And if you've been moved by this message, don't forget to subscribe. Each subscriber helps us reach more people who need gentle reminders like this. Together, We're creating a space where aging is honored, not hidden. Let's also remember, the way we speak to ourselves teaches others how to speak to us. When we speak with strength, grace, and kindness, we invite others to do the same. If there's someone in your life who constantly puts themselves down, send this video to them. Let it be the mirror they need to see how precious they still are. I once met a gentleman named Leonard at a community luncheon. He was 86, bright-eyed, full of wit, but every other sentence out of his mouth was self-deprecating. My old bones, my useless knees, my scattered brain. So I said to him, Leonard, you're the sharpest mind at this table. Stop telling your brain it's broken. He paused, smiled sheepishly, and said, you might be right. 6 months later, Leonard was leading story hour at the local library, and every story he told began with the words, let me tell you something I've learned in my 86 years. That's the power of changing the way we speak. That's the power of claiming your worth. Next, we'll explore the sixth and final habit, one that lives not in the body or the voice, but in the mind. It's the quietest of all, but perhaps the one that steals the most from our golden years. Let's face it, together. And now, we arrive at the sixth and final habit, resisting change and clinging too tightly to the past. This one, dear friend, is delicate, because the past, it's beautiful, it's sacred. It holds our stories, our youth, our firsts, first homes, first loves, first steps of our children, first songs we ever danced to in the living room with someone who's no longer here. We should honor the past, but we must not live there. As we grow older, there's a natural temptation to turn around more than we look forward. We say things like, back in my day, or things just aren't the same anymore. And while those reflections are valid, we must be careful not to let nostalgia become a prison. Because when we resist change, when we reject new ideas, new tools, new people, and new ways of doing things, we begin to isolate ourselves from the very world we're still part of. I've heard many say, this new technology is too complicated, or, I don't need those fancy phones or apps. But what if that phone helped you video call your grandchild more often? What if that app let you learn something new, or make a new friend in another part of the country? Resisting change doesn't preserve us. It disconnects us, and that disconnection, it can silently age us, far more than any wrinkle or gray hair ever could. I want to encourage you to stay curious, to keep learning, to welcome unfamiliar things, not because they're better than what you knew, but because they're part of life now, part of your life. I met a woman named Dorothy at a small senior book club. She was 79 and had never used a computer. Her granddaughter gifted her a tablet, and Dorothy just smiled and said, I'm too old for that. But another member of the group offered to teach her a few minutes a week. And guess what? Within 3 months, Dorothy was emailing, browsing old recipes, joining video chats, and even watching this very channel. She told me something I'll never forget. I thought I was saying goodbye to the world. Turns out, I just needed a new way to say hello. Let that be true for you too. If there's a class at your community center, try it. If there's a gadget someone offers to help you use, let them. If you hear a new song, taste a new dish, meet someone with a very different life than yours, lean in. Even just a little. Because growing older doesn't mean closing doors. It means having the courage to open new ones, even if they creak. And if fear is holding you back, fear of looking foolish, fear of failing, fear of forgetting, know this, the only thing more painful than trying and struggling is never trying at all. You still have pages to write in your story. Don't let the pen dry up now. If you're still with me, if you've stayed through each of these 6 habits, I want to say thank you. Truly, you are the reason this video exists. Your willingness to listen, to reflect, and maybe even to change, that's a gift. Now, please don't leave just yet. Tap that subscribe button below so we can keep walking this road together. And leave me a comment that says, I'm open to what's next. Let's say it as a quiet promise to ourselves. Because no matter your age, your world can still get bigger. And in our final segment, we'll bring it all together. A few words from my heart to yours. to remind you of just how much life you still carry and how to walk forward with grace, with strength, and with joy. I'll be right here when you're ready. If you've made it to this final part of our time together, then let me say, what a gift you are. You see, watching something like this isn't just entertainment. It's an act of courage, an act of care. It says something powerful about who you are, that even in your 60s, 70s, 80s, or beyond, you are still learning, still growing, still deeply connected to the world around you. And that, my dear friend, is not ordinary. That is extraordinary. We've talked today about 6 habits, simple things, familiar things, that can quietly make us look and feel older than we truly are. We talked about posture and how standing tall isn't just for appearance. It's for pride, breath, and presence. We talked about skincare, not as vanity, but as an act of respect for the body that's carried us through so much. We talked about social connection and how even the smallest conversation can breathe life back into our days. We talked about physical stillness and how motion, however gentle, can be our greatest ally in staying strong and steady. We talked about self-talk, the words we speak about our age, our mind, our worth, and how those words quietly shape our world. And finally, we spoke of resistance to change, how holding too tightly to the past can make us miss the beauty of what's still unfolding. Now, I want to tell you something that no magazine headline, no television commercial, and no flashy product will ever say to you plainly. You don't need to be younger. You don't need to chase youth. You don't need to erase anything about yourself. What you need is to be more you. The real you, the curious, wise, compassionate, seasoned, and still becoming version of you. You are not a finished book. You are a living chapter, and there is more to be written, more laughter to share, more wisdom to give, more mornings to wake up and say, today matters. Aging isn't something to endure. It's something to craft. And the habits we carry, both the ones we let go of and the ones we embrace, shape the life we continue to live. So let this be your reminder. You are not too late. You are not behind. You are not invisible. You are here, and you are still becoming. And if no one's told you today, you are doing better than you think. Now, before we part, I have one final favor to ask. If this video meant something to you, even just a sentence or a moment, would you subscribe to this channel? It's a small act that helps us continue creating more content that honors age, celebrates wisdom, and supports people like you. People who've lived, loved, and are still longing for more. And would you leave a comment below? Tell me, what's one habit you're ready to shift starting today? Your words might be the spark someone else needs. Because we grow better, stronger, together. I want to thank you for your time, your attention, your trust. I do not take it lightly. And wherever this video finds you, whether you're sipping your morning tea, sitting in a quiet afternoon sunbeam, or winding down after a long day, I hope you feel this. You are not alone on this journey. Take good care of yourself. Walk tall. Speak kindly to the mirror. Move when you can. Laugh often. Reach out. And don't be afraid to try something new. Because age may change the lines on our face, but it can also deepen the light in our eyes. And that, my friend, is something no number can measure. Until next time, be well, stay wise, and know this, you're still wonderfully becoming.